live real fast. Just wanted to talk about something very important, something a lot of men don't really think about, but it's really nice guys, people pleasers, guys that do things for women, or they try to do things for women that they think is nice, but really what you have to understand is that being a nice guy, you're always going to finish last. Being a nice guy, you are always going to finish last. And the reason why I say that is because when you're a nice guy and you're doing something for the woman, because that's really the only reason why you are doing something, is because you want to impress the woman, you want to appease to her, you want to put her on a pedestal, you want her to be the center of your world, the center of your life. And women can sense that. They know that you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And that's the only reason why you're a nice guy is because you want something out of it. Let's be real. If you're watching this, you're listening to this, and you're a nice guy, the only reason why you're doing it is because you're doing it in hopes that you will get something in return. You're doing it because you fear that just being yourself and not being nice, you fear that just being yourself is something that a woman doesn't want. So what do? You pretend. You pretend to be somebody you're not, and you pretend to be somebody else, and that's being a nice guy. But I'm telling you that it's not going to get you that far. You have some women out there that will tell you that they want a nice guy, but see, they don't understand exactly what a nice guy is, or they're playing stupid like they don't know. But a real woman knows what a nice guy is. Now, if you don't know that you're a nice guy and you want to know, and you really want to understand if you are a nice guy, it's simple. It's simple. You're doing things for a woman just so you can get her approval. You're doing things for a woman just so you can sleep with her. You're doing things for a woman so you can feel important. And when you realize and you understand that, the behaviors of a nice guy, that will help you realize that you're not really going to get anything out of it in the long run. Because what happens is, a lot of guys, they start a relationship or they date, and they try to be a nice guy because they want to impress the woman. And what ends up happening is, you can only pretend to be something that you're not for so long. And sooner or later, who you truly are, the real mask, or the mask that's hiding the true you, will fall off. She'll see it, and she'll start to treat you differently. She'll start to disrespect you even more, because she's looking at it like, okay, when we first started dating, he was being nice, he was being a gentleman, he was doing this, he was doing that, he was kissing my ass. And so when she catches on to you really are just being a nice guy for the wrong reason, or just being a nice guy in general, what she's going to do is use you and take advantage of you, and you're going to end up frustrated and worse off than if you would have just been yourself from the beginning. And it's very simple. It's very simple because it'll start out with, "Oh, you're such a nice guy. I like you." And then from there, "Hey, do you mind if you do this? Can you do that?" Asking you for favors. And then some women, believe it or not, man, if you're doing it to the extreme, like you're giving money and you're buying things just to win her approval, one thing that she'll do is she'll start to use you for everything. She'll start to expect you to take her places. She'll start to expect you to buy things for her, friends, friends trips. And it's deeper than you may know, because a lot of guys don't really talk about the dangers of being a nice guy, and it's bad on both parts. For you, the men, it's bad on you because sooner or later she's going to use you or turn on you, and there's nothing you can do about it because you wasn't being yourself from the beginning. And for women, it's worse for them because there's a lot of nice guys that they claim that they're nice, but they're really not. Because what ends up happening is, The nice guys scare the woman, and they scare the woman because she knows, if I turn this guy down, if I reject this guy, if I say, hey, I don't want anything to do with you, she's in danger. Because when you're nice like that, you you're very attached to her. And when you're attached to her and you're a nice guy, she realizes that you would do, if you would do anything to attract a woman, and you're being a nice guy, that's what I'm talking about on this video. She knows if you are willing to do anything to get her approval, then you will do anything if she rejects you. You'll do anything if she rejects you. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is those guys that say, hey, if I can't have you, nobody else can. How many of you heard that before? If I can't have you, then nobody else can. And the other thing is, there's guys out there that they fake, or they threaten, hey, I'm going to do this and that if you don't stay with me. And see, the thing is, you're not supposed to know that. You're supposed to think that you have to buy flowers, you have to buy chocolates, you have to spend money on her, you have to do all these things to get her approval. You're supposed to do all these things to win her over. And I'm telling you, when I was dating, I didn't do any of that shit. You know why? Because one, if I'm already dating you, or if I already want to get to know you, that's enough for me to prove that I'm interested in you. I don't have to buy gifts. I don't have to buy flowers. I don't have to spend money on expensive things, because there's guys that do that out there anyway that are suckers. And me and my boys used to joke about it, because there's guys that will take a woman on a date, take her to the movies, take her to eat, do all this shit, because they can't communicate, number one. And number two, they don't know their own value. See, when you don't know your own value and you don't know what your own worth is, you use things externally. Okay, I don't know my worth, so I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna take her to this restaurant. It's a nice restaurant. She'll like me. She'll approve of me, and maybe she'll let me sleep with her. Or hey, I have this nice vehicle. I have this nice place. I have the muscles. I have the money. I have this and that. But what you don't understand is, a woman doesn't really care about that shit. She doesn't really care about that shit. You know what she cares about? She cares about how you make her feel, and she cares about if she feels safe with you. So if she does not feel safe with you, and she's not comfortable, she's not attracted to you naturally, without all the extra shit that a lot of nice guys do, you're never going to win her over. She's always going to see you as that guy that she could take advantage of and use for what she wants. And the reason why I say that, because a lot of things that I see on social media, a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows, especially back in the day, they always make the guy seem stupid. They always make the guy seem that he has to do all these nice things to win the woman over. But here's a deep question. Here's a really deep question I want you to think about. What makes a woman that special, to where you're willing to be somebody you're not, and you're willing to do things that you normally wouldn't do, just to win her over or to get her approval? What really makes her that special? I'm very curious. Because if you can't answer that, you can't answer this next question. And this next question, this is for my guys that really put a woman on a pedestal to the point where they have to sleep with her. They have to get her in the bed. They have to do this and that. And that question is, what makes her so special that you have to sleep with her? What makes a woman so special that you have to sleep with her? Because if you can't answer that, if you can't answer what makes a woman so special to where you have to sleep with her, then you're always going to be played. Think about that, you know, especially my younger guys. Okay, you have sex, it feels good, you come, okay, whatever. That's great. But really, what makes her that special where you want to sleep with her? Besides the feeling, what makes a woman so special? And the reason why I say that is because you have some guys that they treat it like it's gold. They treat it like it's above God, you know? And it's not that special. It's not that serious. It really I'm telling you it's not. If you're young, if you're 18, 19, 20, you may think that you need all these women under your belt. You need to fuck this chick, that chick. You can have your fun. I'm not saying to not have fun, but what I am saying is that a real man and a man that knows his worth doesn't care about giving himself to women just because he wants to nut. A real man doesn't care about that. He enjoys it, but a real man doesn't care about giving himself to a woman to the point where he isn't being himself, to the point where he's being a nice guy. You know, you have to understand that you don't need to, I'm telling you, you don't need to be a nice guy in order to get a woman to sleep with you. You don't have to be a nice guy in order for a woman to like you, to be attracted to you. There's a lot of things you don't have to do if you want a woman. You don't. But society and the media and movies and television, all that shit, it tricks you to make you think that's what you need, but you don't need those things. And you know why they trick you to make you think you need those things? Because guess what? When Valentine's Day comes around, who makes profit? Companies, jewelry companies, candy companies, restaurants, movie theaters, all those companies and businesses make money because you feel that you're not worthy and you're not enough. So when you feel that you're not worthy, you're not enough, what do? They make commercials. Hey, get her this, get her that. If you want to, be that special someone, you'll do this, you'll do that. And that's the thing I really want you to understand is that when you're young or even when you're older, but I just want you to understand that just because you think that you're not worthy of a woman doesn't mean that you're not. You got to understand that. And once you understand that, you'll realize that you can just be. I always talk about being yourself. And a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean be yourself? Like, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm this, I'm that. And being yourself is taking all that shit away. And who are you when you don't have those titles? Who are you when you don't have the things that people deem as making you important? When I was in the Marine Corps, in the military, yeah, I had my rank. I was in the military. I was this and that. But you know what? I never led with that. I always led with, hey, I'm a man. This is who I am. This is what you get. What you get is what you see. It's not what it could be. This is just what it is. And women respect that. Women respect that you know who you are and you're not trying to be somebody you're not. And not being somebody you're not is just basically being honestly who you are. If I say, hey, regardless of your job and your career, that's nice, that's cute and everything, but what who do you represent? Who are you without that? Do you still feel that you have the same amount of confidence and do you still have the same amount of power and self-worth and self-esteem and self-respect? Do you still have those things even if those things that I mentioned earlier are taken away from you? And if those things make you who you are, then you're always going to be controlled because that is something that you're attached to give you an identity But that identity is false because that's the identity that was created outside of you, maybe before you were even born, for decades, centuries, and you take on that identity of something that's not even who you are. And when you take on the titles, the identities, and things that are not who you are, you're always going to be controlled by those things, but you always have to play by that rule. And I hope I'm not confusing anybody, because I know some of the things I talk about can be deep, some of it can be philosophical. It's just making sure you understand when you are yourself and you're being yourself and you're not trying to be a nice guy or people pleaser. You're not trying to do things just to, sleep with a woman or do this and that to impress her. Then that's when you get respect. But you lose respect the moment that a woman knows that you're being somebody that you're not. It's simple. And I know that society and friends, they may tell you like, hey man, you gotta get this, you gotta do that. This to get the girls, women like this, women like that. But a real woman, they want a man that's genuine and is not afraid to be who he is, because she's looking at it this way. If he's not afraid to be who he is, then that means he has value. But if he's afraid to be who he actually is and he has to be somebody else and he has to rely on the titles, I'm really just trying to educate you on, where your true power comes from. And your true power comes from you being yourself, not attaching to anything and not subscribing to what society, deems as important or deems as what makes you a man or makes you valuable. That's what it's really about. That's what it's really about. It's just understanding that, hey, if you're a certain way and a woman doesn't like that, why bother trying to change who you are? Because it's always going to be, hear me on this, hear me on this. There's always going to be a woman that accepts you for who you are. There's always going to be a woman who accepts you for who you are. In the moment that you try to be somebody you're not, you're going to turn the woman off. But guess what? Guess what? Sooner or later, the person you're trying to be, who you're actually not, sooner or later, she's going to see through that. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter anyway. If you would have just been yourself in the beginning, you would have respect. You would win her over. Some guys are like, how do I win her over? How about you just be yourself? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm going to leave you with this because I'm not trying to be on here too long. But here's the thing. Understand that when you are being yourself, it's a lot easier because you know who you are. You know who you are, and you don't have to try to be something you're not. Because when you try to be something you're not, and you try to keep up with that, it's just like actors. The crazy thing is, do you think an actor really wants to play that role 24/7 to make people like him just because of that role? I want you to really think about that. An actor doesn't want to do that. So if an actor doesn't want to play that role, and he gets paid millions of dollars, actors get paid millions of dollars, and they could act that role in their personal life. But I'm telling you, they don't care about that because number one, it's work, and number two, you can't keep up with acting and trying to be somebody you're not. And when you are a guy and you try to do that so you can win a girl over or win a woman over, here's the thing that you don't think about. You don't think about, what about the emotions? What about when shit gets real and there's arguments, there's fights, she has an attitude, she cheats on you. When all these extra things come in there, then who are you? You may be able to play like you're somebody for a little bit of time, but then what happens when real shit happens? When real shit goes down and you have to show up as a man, the core of who you are, but you don't know who you are, and you never really started the relationship or when you were dating her, you never really started from who you are. So now what happens? And it goes downhill from there because it all starts, I'm telling you, it all starts from the moment that you meet a woman. She's trying to see if you are who you say you are. She's trying to see if you're going to lie, if you're going to manipulate, if you're going to play games. And then once you start a relationship or you start dating, right? And she knows that you're playing games. Here's the crazy thing. I can't trust this guy because he started the relationship with a lie. Well, no, he didn't even start the relationship with a lie. He started the date with a lie. When we first started dating, he was lying. That's what she's thinking. And the other thing you have to understand is that you're proving her right. So subconsciously, in her mind, she's thinking that, hey, most guys lie, most guys do this. And when you do those things that she expects you to do, guess what? She puts you in that category. Okay, this guy is just like all the other guys that I dated before. And you wonder why she's treating you a certain way. That's the reason why she's treating you a certain way is because of how you started the relationship, how you started when you were dating her. And when you start it that way, it all goes downhill from there. And that's, a lot of guys that I work with that are in relationships, that's the thing that they didn't understand. I asked them, I was like, hey, when you first started your relationship, when you first started dating, what exactly did you say to her? How did you start it? Were you being yourself? Were you shy and timid? Were you acting overly confident? Did you kiss her ass? What did you do when you first started the relationship? And what a lot of them say is that, well, I was just trying to be the best I could be. I was trying to do this and do that. And I tell them, like, hey, a lot of shit can be alleviated when you get into a relationship if you would have started the right way from the beginning. And that's when you first started dating. That's the thing a lot of guys don't understand is that you have to be who you are from the beginning and you improve from there. But the thing is, when you start a relationship or you start dating with a lie, not being yourself, trying to be a nice guy, people pleaser, you're starting below ground zero. So now you have to work up to get to base level. But the thing is, when you're at base level, sorry, too late because you're already in a relationship. She already knows that you started a relationship with a lie. Now she's already planning how to manipulate you, take advantage of you, and use you. And you don't even realize it because you started a relationship with a lie, if that makes sense. So, not trying to be long winded. I'm not trying to confuse anybody, but if you got any questions, make sure you put them down in the chat. I see. Let me see. Okay, me. Ledger. What do you mean by me? If you're still on here, and then a shoe 412. What's that? What's that? What? Like, be specific. What's up? But yeah, but just understand that that our relationships I talk to that I work with they always tell me like, hey, you know, it started on the wrong foot. She's doing this. She's doing that. But there's always a domino effect. Something you did, something you said, and when you started off with a lie, not being yourself, trying to people please, be a nice guy, you already started off on the wrong foot. And there, do that you have to be aware of is that if you get into an argument or disagreement in the very beginning, don't apologize. That's the worst thing you can do is a lot of guys apologize and a lot of guys they apologize not with just words, but they apologize with gifts and flowers and dates and it you already are you're putting yourself even lower. You're putting yourself even lower. So once you understand that and you realize that, you know, you're putting yourself lower, then you'll autocorrect. I'll just say that. So WTF? What's up? Maybe you hopped on here at the wrong time. If you just joined my live, what I'm talking about is the reason why you don't want to be a nice guy and how that is detrimental to your relationship if you end up getting into a relationship with the woman that you're dating. And what I was talking about with these guys earlier, if you're just now getting on here, is that being a nice guy is really being something that you're not because you're trying to get the woman's approval. You're trying to sleep with her. You're trying to do all these things that she may not even care about, but you care about so much because you think that's what she wants, but she really doesn't care. Meaning, she wants you to just be yourself. And if you just be yourself, then that's all that matters. But y'all don't get it. So, what to do instead? Well, what I will say is if you're dating, instead of trying to please the woman, instead of trying to be a nice guy, just be yourself. Say what you want to say. Be authentic. Don't try to sugarcoat things. Don't try to be something you're not. And just be you. Just have fun, man. All you got to do really is just have fun. When you're dating a woman, just have fun. Don't try to do anything extra. Don't try to impress her. Just be who you are. And like I said, the beauty of being who you are is it's not hard to be who you are. And if you're being yourself and the woman likes you and she likes you being yourself, then that's even better because you don't have to work so hard to do all this extra shit that these nice guys do. I I'm telling you, when you understand it and you understand your value and your worth as a man, you will never try to do anything to please the woman. The woman will try to do things to please you. It's not saying that she's not being herself, she's just giving you her best self. When you are being yourself as a man and you know your value and your worth, a woman will give you her best self. But if you're a guy that is being a nice guy and you're kissing her ass and you're walking on eggshells, she's going to do what? Give you her worst self. And then you have guys that complain about women. You have guys that say women are this and that. But my thing is, as a man, you are a leader. A woman looks up to you. If a woman is treating you like shit, it's because she doesn't see you as a leader. She doesn't see you as a guy that she respects. And if she doesn't see you as a leader and she doesn't see you as a guy that she respects, then she never will. But this has been a long video. I just wanted to hop on here real quick, just give you a little bit of something. And if you got any questions, pin them or put them in the comment section. Other than that, if you like the video and you got something out of it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. And another thing I want you to do is go to my community tab. You should be able to go to my community tab and just write out what questions do you have. This is specifically for guys that are dating regarding rejection, confidence, being a nice guy, whatever it is. Just let me know what type of content you want me to talk about, what questions you have, and I will definitely answer those questions in a live video or in a video in general. But until next time, make sure you guys take care, give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys later. Time for me to get some sleep.